Getty. Brexit Minister Steve Baker and Jacob ReesMogg were sceptical about the report's findings, and his stance has been backed by Tory colleagues, with eurosceptic MP Philip Davies blaming Londoncentric Remoaners officials regurgitating dodgy figures. Former party leader Iain DuncanSmith said the timing of the leaked report was highly suspicious, and influential backbencher Jacob ReesMogg branded the findings very inaccurate. Mr. Baker said it is an attempt to undermine our exit from the EU. It is not yet anywhere near being approved by ministers. Even the ministerial team in my department has only just been consulted on this paper in recent days. We have made it clear it requires significant further work. He stressed that the analysis also failed to account for Britain's preferred outcome of a bespoke trade deal with the EU post-Brexit, adding it's not a forecast for our preferred outcome of negotiations. It does not take account of the opportunities of leaving the EU. I would agitate for a healthy skepticism about the use of mathematical economics. Downing Street has stressed the leaked report has not been approved by ministers as leading Brexiteers hit out at the leak of a study which concluded the UK economy would lose out whatever Brexit deal the government strikes. The document, which was leaked to BuzzFeed, suggested economic growth would fall by 2% over the next 15 years if the UK left with a free trade agreement and 8% if the UK left without a deal. Getty. Former Conservative Party leader Iain DuncanSmith called the timing of the leak highly suspicious. If the UK retained access to the single market, the impact statement report predicted that growth would still be 2% lower than it would be otherwise. As Brexiteers hit back at the leak, Mr. Davies launched a stinging attack on civil servants, saying we have here some Londoncentric Remoaners in the civil service who didn't want us to leave the EU in the first place and put together some dodgy figures to back up the case, who still don't want us to leave the EU, and regurgitating some dodgy figures. Mr. DuncanSmith later told Radio 4's Today programme, I think the timing on this is highly suspicious in the sense that suddenly in the midst of all of this conversation about the European Union we have a leaked document. I would observe that almost every single forecast coming from government and most of the international organizations has been completely wrong. Brexit MP Philip Davies sucked Londoncentric Remoaners with dodgy figures trying to reverse the referendum result. https://Lotus Way, Westminster at Westminster Act January 30, 2018. I would argue that therefore it is an incomplete report. The government itself has damned it, and I think therefore we should just push it to one side and say yet another report, not complete, not overseen by the government. Ministers have clearly not evaluated this report yet, therefore we should say look, it's deliberately leaked because it gives a bad view, and therefore we should just put it on one side and say look, leave it alone. 2. December 14, 2017. Theresa May's Tory Brexit rebels. Mr. ReesMogg told BBC's Newsnight programme that forecasts made by the government before the EU referendum in 2016 had been based on flawed assumptions, and that sort of thing makes these models highly speculative and so far very inaccurate, a Downing Street spokesman said at the beginning of Cabinet. The Prime Minister noted media coverage of a report purporting to show the impact of Britain leaving EU. The PM said this was initial work, not approved by ministers, which only considers off-the-shelf scenarios. No analysis was made of the bespoke agreement we seek as a matter of government policy.